Now, I'm not telling you to go home and say to your husband, your wife, your kids, your mother-in-law, I'm sorry, Derek said I had to kick you all out of my life because you make me feel like shit. That's not what I'm saying entirely. But there is something to that. We need to have power for this. We need to have a backbone. I want you to feel that. I want you to be a fucking fierce stand of love for yourself. I want you to love that little boy and girl and never again let anybody step on their voice, walk over them, not support them, not respect them. You have to be the fierce stand for that part of you. Conditions don't determine your destiny. Your character does. And your character, which means the etch of God on your soul, the character is made up of your habits. And as Confucius said, all men are alike. It is their habits that separate them. And that's really true. Another way to say it is it's the character of someone that separates them from the whiners and the winners and the leaners or the leaders. It's the character, which is made up of your habits. And when your character is congruent with your vision, your deepest values and your vision, then you are in integrity. You are no longer serving two masters or a house divided. You are aligned where two or three are gathered in agreement. That's within you. You are a church. You are congruent. You are a congregation within yourself. And now you are an open channel for life to flow through you and fulfill the pattern according to you. When your character is aligned, as Gandhi said, you have to be the change you want to see. So one of the things we do wrong is we just try to go out and do, and end up with a lot of do. And we actually have to become and embody. And here's the great thing, as you've been learning, we're not really after the outer goals. We think we are. We use them to pull more out of us. What we're really after is an inner goal, a soul goal, a state of being. All 7+ billion people, that's all they're searching for, is a state, a feeling, a connection. And what it is to feel the full activation and aliveness of who I am. That's what everyone's after. The goals are used as like a North Star to go, okay, if that's what I'm pulled to create, who do I have to become to be a match to that? Because the becoming is really all that our soul cares about. The soul, the spirit, it has everything. So it doesn't need to get anything. The joy of your being is in the unfoldment and the expression of what's in you, as the poet Robert Browning called the imprisoned splendor. It's not about pulling something in, it's about letting more out. That's where joy comes from. Real joy is on that emerging edge of your true potential, not on the acquisition of some possession. At the end of the year or a lifetime, the only thing our soul cares about is not about how many possessions we have, but about how much greater possession we have of ourself. Isn't that what so many of you have been struggling with? Giving away your possession, giving away your power, selling a piece of your soul for safety and security, believing you have to purchase the peace and the power and the well-being through some outer condition. That's the great foible and fumble and false reality of the human condition. Don't look at your body, your bank account, your current business, the economy, or your past, or your parents, or anything going on, and use that as a guiding tool to see what you can say yes to. Because then you're just basically stuck with something that's already dead, because a condition is dead. It doesn't have any life in it. You're the life and the light. You give it all life. And so when Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead, he was saying, don't be stuck with conditions. Don't let those old patterns and conditions determine where you go, right? You're not here to save your life or save the world. You're here to serve what's emerging in you and what's emerging on the planet. It's an inside-out job. It's an unfoldment, an effulgent or emergent job. So character determines destiny. Habits determine character. What you commit to determines your habits. What you do consistently. If you don't master that ever, you'll never create the container of commitment and nothing will cook. It's a pressure cooker with the lid off. or with a bunch of leaks in it. So what you commit to is based on your core values and your greatest vision. You don't want to invest down to your greatest fears and comfort and convenience. You want to invest your time, talent, treasure up to your highest vision. Surround yourself with the people, the places, the objects, the activities as much as possible that represent where you want to go, not where you've been. You want to design a way of life that is congruent to the life that is trying to emerge. If you're designing a garden for certain kinds of things to grow, you have to design it for those kinds of things to grow. It's got to have the right kind of soil, the right kind of structures to hold certain things that would fall over without them. It's got to have the right amount of light, the right amount of food. For that to grow, it's designed. It's not by default. It's intentional. You don't want to live life on accident. You want to live life on purpose. So you've been discovering, what is my vision? What are my core values? What am I creating? So now we're going to dial in and start to unpack what are the qualities of your character. Take a deep breath. Now drop into your great vision, your impact, your life's work. And if you're not sure what it is, you don't have to get the right vision. You just have to come up with what lights you up. So choose, decide, open to, and step into a life that lights you up. A sense of who you're being that really lights you up and turns you on. An impact that really lights you up, inspires you, relationships. Whatever that is, fill it in and paint a picture of a life that lights you up and turns you on, and look around at the different people and things and activities that really make you feel great. Give yourself permission to really indulge in the life of your dreams. Really feel that. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, let that feeling, whatever sliver or pinprick of joy or activation, and let it expand to fill your heart and your chest. Take another deep breath. And as you exhale, let it expand just to continue to fill your body. You can expand the frequency. You can radiate it through your whole being. And see yourself walking through a day in the life of your ideal life. Helping people, serving, loving, embracing, connecting. You walk into a room and you get a standing ovation. You walk down the street and people want to shake your hand. Whatever that is to you, to feel fully seen, fully supported, recognized and rewarded, loved, admired, a place of inspiration, creativity, genius. See your artwork, your written materials, your music, your dance, your coaching, teaching, writing, speaking, whatever it is. See yourself, take your stage. See how it's impacting people. See your mother or your father or your brother or your sister or your old teacher that said you never could amount to much, or you shouldn't do this or do that. And now they call you up or write you, or they come to one of your events and just come up and say how proud they are of you. Your parent, maybe one that didn't fully approve or you never felt that, see them now saying to you, I'm so glad you followed your heart. See the life of your dreams. You get to have it all right now. Don't hold anything back. Notice the qualities of feeling. Just tune in and notice, if you had to give names to the feelings you're feeling when you are feeling the feelings of this vision, what would they be? Things like joy, happiness, power, confidence, freedom, ecstasy. And now as you're in that space now, notice in that life, what are your particular thought patterns, your habits of thinking? What's the way you think now in this life? Just notice where maybe before you used to think looking for what's wrong, what's missing. And maybe now you notice your habits of thinking are what's possible, what I can do, where I can serve, what I can create. You walk into a room and you see opportunity and you see love. Maybe you imagine a scenario coming up where there's a problem that happens. And whereas before you might have just run right into the problem, gotten stuck in the problem, maybe now you notice this new pattern of thinking is you get excited because you know and believe that what's in the way is the way, that the problem is really an opportunity to grow. You have a new pattern of thinking now. And notice, how are you being in this life? Notice how you're being, like I'm being more outgoing. I'm being more playful. I'm being more generous, more creative, more curious. How are you being in this life, this vision? You're feeling some qualities and you're also being some qualities. So the gap, like in any time if you're putting a financial plan together and you have a vision for your company and this is how much you've earned in revenue, and this is the new plan, the vision of how much you're gonna earn in revenue, and this is what you're earning, you create what's called a gap plan. And you come up with the practices and the things to fill that gap. So it's really the same thing. It is this practical and this real and possible. Create some affirmation, right? Like if you notice when you see a problem now in the new life, you see possibilities instead of a problem. Then it might, be something like, everything is conspiring for my highest good, and I see the path of unlimited potential in every seeming problem I face. Do you want to find some kind of affirmation, which is like a piece of programming code, to start to activate and to anchor in that new mode of thinking? You just want it to be affirmative and present tense. Not, I'm going to eventually, someday, when I get all my shit together, see things positively. It's, everything is conspiring for my good. I see opportunities where others see problems. Everywhere I turn, I'm met with love and support. If perhaps you were used to looking around every corner for who's gonna hurt you, and the new way of thinking is you walk around trusting life. I trust life implicitly, and everywhere I go, I'm loved and rewarded. And again, you want to look at the quality or qualities that you captured in that vision. Maybe it was joy, peace, love, and just again, capture an affirmation that really anchors that. I am a channel of boundless joy and an instrument of inexhaustible inspiration. My heart is overflowing and my spirit is on fire. Now, again, I don't expect you to write it like that. Just giving you examples. You can take a piece of it. You can tell it in your own way. It might just be, I'm awesome. Whatever that is that makes you feel that quality of emotion. I'm filled to overflow with joy. I'm a joy baby. I'm an angel of love. My heart is overflowing. And then close your eyes and really allow the guidance to emerge. What would it look like for me to be more creative, more generous, more giving, more crazy? And you're not asking, what would it look like to have more love, to have more peace? That's the feeling quality. You're looking at the being quality, and you notice you're being more playful, you're being more spontaneous, you're being more outgoing in your full-on yes life. Now you're asking, in my life now, what would it look like for me to be more, and then fill in the quality? You see yourself coming home, and where normally you would just go to work or make dinner, you grab your wife or your husband and you dance around the kitchen. Or you get down on the floor and play with your kid. Just notice and ask, what would it look like for me to be more this in my life or in a specific area? And see what vision emerges. What are some of the specific things I'm doing in this new life, this yes life, that you're not doing now or not doing as much now? I'm exercising 3 times a week. I'm taking yoga. I'm writing every day. I'm playing with my children every day, or whatever. Whatever that is you, the real authentic integrated you, living and expressing, not from a place to have to get something or get away from something or overcome something, but from a place of living in your yes, living the life of your dreams. What are the things you'd be doing? Look at those qualities of feeling you had, right? Love, peace, joy, whatever that is. And pick the one that feels most lacking in your life right now, or the one you just most want in your life right now. Power, peace, joy, whatever that is. And I want you now just to think about what are the people, places, objects of the senses, like sounds, smells, images, totems, talismans. Those are objects of the senses. Music, or people, places, objects, or activities that activate that quality. So let's say it's joy. And as you think through it, look over your life and think, what were the people that I used to spend time with, or the kinds of people that activated joy in me? What are the kinds of people I want to spend more time with, but I'm not, that activate that quality in me? And what are the places that I used to spend time in that would activate that quality in me? Or the places I've been saying I want to spend more time in that activate that quality in me? And maybe you spend some time, but it's not enough. What are the objects of the senses? As I said, it could be pictures, music, smells, the smell of fresh baked bread, the smell of freshly cut grass, the sound of chimes of birds. Objects of the senses that you recall, like sense memory, activate that quality in you. And then activities. Like for me, if I just turn on some dance music and dance around my house, I'm instantly changed into a state of happiness. If I'm with certain kinds of people, or I'm doing certain kinds of things, it activates, it lights me up. If I exercise, I can be tired, but when I exercise, I feel powerful. So what are the people, places, objects, or activities that activate that quality in you? When we're young, before we get conditioned, we have an innate guidance system where we are drawn to the people, places, objects, and activities that are congruent with our emerging soul. And that's why little Bobby doesn't want smelly Aunt Susie with the fruitcake to hold him, and is such a brat. And mommy's like, stop being so rude, Bobby. Let Aunt Susie hold you and eat her fruitcake. And Bobby is forever traumatized and not able to, and starts to not trust his or her instincts. Little Susie is always wanting to play in the dirt. Stop playing in the dirt all the time. Go out and play with other kids. Go read a book. You're going to get dirty. You're going to get sick. But little Susie knows that being in the earth and being in that place and with that object fills and feeds and fuels her soul and is congruent. But now she's like, really? Because it's both dangerous, scary, confusing. Okay, maybe I shouldn't play with the dirt. Maybe I should go over here. And not only does she lose that guidance system, but probably will have a compromised immune system when she grows up. So this happens, and one by one, we're told that what we know, the places we want to be in, the people we want to be with, the objects of our senses, all of that, the activities, we lose that. And left to our own devices in the right environment, if that's safe anyways, we will naturally create what are called meta conditions, where we are with the people, places, objects, and activities that are completely aligned with what's emerging. We know how to create the conditions for the garden of our life to thrive naturally. So what you're doing here is you're reclaiming that capacity. You're putting it on manual because it's been on autopilot, but it's on autopilot with the wrong flight plan. You're bringing it back now, and you're taking back this power to create conditions. And what you can begin to do to stack these conditions, so it's not like you have to do them all separately, is, you like to be in nature, you like to have certain conversations about deep things, that's an activity. And you like to hike, that's an activity. And so you get Susie, go on a hike in nature, talking about deep things, and you notice, I am so lit up. The reason that happens when you feel so lit up is because you're with the kinds of people you want to be with. You're doing the kinds of things you want to be doing. You're in the kind of environment that you want to be. Big thinking, inspirational, transformational, amazing thought leaders, change makers, lovers. And it's called a meta condition. And so it's lighting up all the circuitry. It's bringing you into alignment. You want to create a plan with this now. You learn how to layer them and anchor them so they can fit into your life. Because you might be going, well, yeah, I really do want to play guitar more. I really do want to, go camping more. It's like, okay, but I don't have time to do all that, Derek. It's like, how about, once a month or every once in a while, and I like hanging out with these friends. Why don't you have a camp out and take your guitar with Bobby and Susie and Julie and Tom? Or I like listening to this stuff that really lights me up, and I like exercising, but I don't have time to do both. Why don't you do it while you're exercising? Why don't you listen to it while you're driving? What's 1 or 2 or 3 action steps you're gonna commit to actually go home and do, or do it here and now? You're confused? Amused.
And I through the limitations and say, fuck it, go for it without any limitations.
Yes.
But in the real world, I have to kind of control that. So how would that manifest?
How would you do that? It's a great question. So if your being is being a badass, right, being a rebel, then you just look and see, where and how can I do that? Who's got a couple examples of how you can relatively safely and not hurting anybody else practice or do something that allows you to be a badass or be a rebel? Motorcycle? Archery. Okay, so that makes you feel like a badass. Go to a shooting range. Triathlon. And here's the thing. It doesn't mean you have to go from where you are now to being on a Harley, moving down the highway. That doesn't mean you have to go there. You might just ask, in this relationship right now, or in this job right now, what would look like for me to bring a little bit of my badassery? Because it's really not about being a badass, it's about being free, authentic, fully expressed in your power, right? Badass is like an archetype that contains a lot of those qualities. And you'll notice, if I just do this thing, that might seem like nothing to somebody else, but to me, having a conversation and just sharing my honest opinion and not giving a shit what anybody says, that's fucking badass. So you can come up with a simple one. Yeah, Julie.
That's what I wanted to say. One of the most badass things that I can do is speak my truth.
Yeah.
Like the raw truth.
Yeah,
Hell
girl.
Yeah. Speak it, and you will be a badass.
Yeah, good one. Beautiful. Look at her, what a badass she's become, right? We've created an angel, not a monster. Maybe a monster in the best sense of the word.
She smiled as she did it, though.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about all the things to put in your life, but that's not the whole picture. You also have to look at the people, places, objects, and activities that aren't activating you or are deactivating you, causing negative feelings. Now, I'm not telling you go home and say to your husband, your wife, your kids, your mother-in-law, I'm sorry, Derek said I had to kick you all out of my life because you make me feel like shit. That's not what I'm saying entirely. But there is something to that, right? When I went through this real transformational process, I did have to break away from family and friends that weren't meeting me, that weren't supporting me. My mom was like, and she's not like that anymore. Obviously, she's here. She thought I had joined a cult. And then my dad, was always, trying to get me to do something else. And so every time I was in these different relationships, it wasn't supportive. You have to be a stand for you. If somebody isn't going to be supportive, I'm sorry, whatever the world says, but you have to have a conversation with them and say, this is who I am. This is what I need. This is where I'm going. I love you, and if you love me, this is what it looks like. Support me. And if you can't, if you can't give me, I'm not saying you need to be my cheerleader necessarily, or you need to lay out a red carpet when I walk into a room, sound the trumpets or whatever, but at the very least, you have to recognize this is what I need and want to be happy. And if you care about me, you will at the very least not try to stop me or denigrate me. You can give me honest, constructive feedback, but I need to know you're with me. Because if you're not with me, I can't be with you. And if you love me and you want to spend time with me, this is who I am and this is who I'm going to spend time with. That's a hard conversation. And you may not have to go all the way. You may be surprised how much people want to support you. But nobody gets to take and steal your life away from you. Not your children, not your parents, not society, not your boss, not your colleagues, nobody. And guess what? They don't want anybody to steal their life away. They're just trying to steal your life away because they've given theirs away. They've sold the pieces of themselves off, and now they're trying to get them back from you. Now they're just trying to bring you down to where they are and be as miserable and unexpressed as they are. And sometimes it's for good, it's well-intentioned, but it's a projection of their own shadow. Don't buy it anymore. Yes? 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 We need to have power for this. We need to have a backbone, not a wishbone. I want you to feel that. I want you to be a fucking fierce stand of love for yourself. I want you to love that little boy and girl and never again let anybody step on their voice, walk over them, not support them, not respect them. You have to be the fierce stand for that part of you. That also includes the places you hang out in that are not supportive. The conversations you're part of that are not supportive. My dad used to speak a lot of racist things when I was in his company. And I was like, Dad, no. And eventually I was like, calling him on it and saying, if you want me to be hanging around, you need to not do that. And eventually, and it was hard and it was scary. My dad was big to me. And eventually he doesn't do that anymore. And there's been a couple times in the distant past where he would start to go there and he'd just look at me and then not go there. So people treat you the way you train them based on how you treat and hold yourself. I'm giving you this now so you remember it, and I'm giving it to you strong. It's coming out really strongly, especially for those of you that may not continue with us, because you might have to have conversations with some people. You might have to get rid of some things. When I first went through this transformation, I got rid of TV. I got rid of a lot of news, books. All I did was have books or documentaries or things that fed me, fueled me, fired me up, inspired me. Only conversations with people that were like that. And I needed to just incubate. Okay, I'm not saying you have to do that. I had a very radical break. I tried to become a monk, as many of you know. So it was very radical. I needed that, like a young teenager that needs to break away from their parental pressure and control. Sometimes they have to do it very rebelliously and pull the Band-Aid off fast, otherwise they'll never do it and they won't develop their own sense of identity and individuality. For me, I'd become so indoctrinated into people-pleasing and being the nice guy that I had to just tear away. And I just become so caught up. I was an actor and all these outer things, and I had to just tear away. Make my own apartment my monastery for a while. Now, you may not have to go that far, and you may not be able to right now, and that's okay. Just be aware of what things might you and can you remove from your life on this list: objects, activities, people, places that don't serve you anymore. Because otherwise, you're just throwing little seeds of weeds into your garden, and you're just letting them continue to grow and choke the life out of your flowers. I mean, it's that obvious and that simple. Don't do that anymore. Start making a list of the people, places, objects, and activities you need to remove from your life because they don't serve, they don't support, or have those conversations and invite people to be more supportive. Yes? Yes. Okay.